Well, there. Good evening, my wonderful friends, colleagues, and associates. It is John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here, coming at you tonight. It's Saturday. Feels like a Sunday. Saturday, January 29th. For those of you that are new to my streams, well, every single Saturday, which we're starting off, is the start of this week's topic. And then every single day till Friday, I do basically seven short little stream episodes where I get more in depth and talk about different areas of the topic that we're on. For those of you that are coming back, well, welcome back. It is great to have my loyal subscribers back, and I hope many of my new people will become loyal subscribers. And if you haven't pressed that like or follow button, depending on what platform you're on, again, do that. Show me some love, a like, a support. Really appreciate that. And be grateful if you'd also take a moment and comment below what's on your mind. That's our topic. What's on your mind? Now, the challenge with what's on your mind is it may not be what's supposed to be on your mind. Now, what is he talking about? Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are working at the office, okay? And you're supposed to be focused on the task at hand. But you're thinking about what you're going to have for lunch, what you're going to do for dinner, what your date's going to be like tonight, or what kind of activities you're going to do with your friends on the weekend. And so we need to be present. That's an interesting concept. John hasn't mentioned that before. How do we be present in the moment? So when I said what's on your mind, that resonates with everybody. When I say be present in the moment, they're like, what's he talking about? This seems like some nonsense. It's not. You live in the present moment. You can manage your emotions. You can manage your thoughts and stay in the moment. Because if we stay in the moment, we can truly give the moment and everything around it the best that it can be. If we're doing other things like wondering what we're going to do this weekend, who's going to win the Super Bowl, and I can go on about other superfluous things that are not relevant to what we're doing right now. Like right now, if you're in the moment with me, you're thinking about what I'm talking about. And when I say what's on your mind, if you have nothing on your mind because you're just focusing on what I have to say, a lot of times students take classes and, they don't learn what the teacher or professor's instructing them on because their head is in another dimension, on another planet. And so this happens because maybe the person doesn't get enough rest, doesn't get the right nutrition or food, doesn't get enough the proper food and diet, exercise, and also maybe because they might be having some type of emotional challenge or emotional crisis. Now, everyone can experience these things. It's just we have to properly channel them so they don't get out of their compartment. Being an employer for many years, I always tell the staff, if you have issues, let us know. But your issues can stay personal as long as they don't become part of my workplace. And so what does that mean? It means that when your issue affects you getting to work on time or getting to doing the right task or falling asleep at the desk, then it becomes my issue. If you're working 2 other jobs or you're going out with your buddies or your friends late at night, I don't care. But if you're coming into the office and you're not at your peak or you're not able to do your job well, then I'm going to say, what's on your mind? Or what have you been up to? You might say it's none of your business. And you're correct that it's none of my business as long as it doesn't affect or preclude what you're supposed to be doing at work. Now that sounds pretty interesting. So how do we stay in the moment? Well, one thing you could do is you can notice your surroundings. Just focus on one thing. Now, I know lots of corporations say you got to multitask, and I get it because they want to save money. Focus on one thing. And hey, Here's something we spent a long time on last week. Be grateful for what you have now. Hey, it's like these ideas are tied together. Accept things as they are now, even though they may not be the way you want them to be. Do some daily meditation the best you can, and even do some deep breathing exercises. Now, you might say to me, John, how do we focus on what is in the present? Well, that's a great question. Question, I should say. We focus on what's in the present by just taking our attention and laser beaming it just to that concept. For example, if you're with a loved one, maybe at the doctor or somewhere else, and you're concerned about them, well, that's what's on the moment. You shouldn't be thinking about 100 other things that you're going to do or the food shopping you're going to do at home. That's important, but compartmentalize your life. Thus, when you're with someone or you're doing one thing, you're in one compartment. You're not diving into another compartment. Now, the only time that this doesn't apply is if you're doing something, let's say, and it involves bringing in another part of your life. That's fine. Like maybe you're going to bring business into your personal life. That's fine. It's just don't be going all over the place. So if I am at a restaurant and I'm ordering dinner, I don't want to be thinking about what the road trip is going to be like home. Or if it's snowing outside and I'm thinking about snowing, great. But I don't want to focus on something that doesn't affect me at the current moment. Let me give you another example. You're at a ball game, okay? And you're watching them play. But suddenly your friend's like, oh my gosh, the traffic is terrible. You got to be in the moment. If you're going to the game and every 5 minutes you're worrying about the traffic, so maybe you say, look, we're going to leave the game half hour earlier, an hour early, so we don't hit traffic. That's fine. But don't belabor the point. So every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, every minute, oh my gosh, there's traffic. What are we going to do? Enjoy the game. And then when we leave, we'll deal with it. And we're going to leave a little early. I think people put too much on their mind. And when the brain gets too cluttered, it's not able to process information. It's just not, or not very well. What happens if you try to do 10 or 15 things at one time? Well, usually you don't do 10 or 15. Maybe you do 2 or 3. Then maybe try to do 5 or 6. And what happens when you get above 2 or 3? Well, you start doing one task a little bit inefficiently the other, and maybe you're not doing it as well as when you were just doing that task one-on-one. But see, a lot of corporations don't get this. They believe life is all about multitasking and making people work for the most in the time. I think it's important to get people to work in time, but they need to be working on the task as efficiently as they can. And if they work on one task at a time, that's great. That's why these people that do chats and they have, 50 windows open, they can't give great client services. They really can't. Now, when I say to you, how do you be present? So we've talked about a lot of ways that you can be present. Focus on the now. That means focus on exactly what's going on, what I'm saying, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, what you're sensing right here in the moment. Pay attention to little things like a smile or a laugh. A great way to focus on the now and to really have one thing in your brain is to perform a random act of kindness. Give thanks, and then remember to not worry. Thus, if you're taking a class, and let's say you took care of all your personal issues and now you're at class, you're able to put that aside, right? And now you're able to pay attention to what the professor's saying, what other students might be saying in your group, and you're able to actually learn something. When you have more stresses on your brain's like, well, wait a minute, I can't quite focus because I'm worried about this. I'll give you another example. You've just finished cooking, okay? And you always check the stove before you leave. But for whatever reason, your partner, significant other, a friend, is rushing you out the door. Now you think you checked, but you're not sure. You leave, you're 10 or 15 minutes, and you say to your friend, partner, or spouse, say, look, I don't know if I turned off the gas, if I turned off the stove. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, you were rushing me. Yeah, but you're supposed to pay attention. Well, you were rushing me. I was trying to focus and you were rushing me. So now you have to go back because you didn't think about the moment. When you leave and say, okay, I've turned the gas off, I've confirmed everything's off, I'm leaving, and you're confident, maybe check it once or twice. The gas is off, you've seen it off, you've checked, it's all off. You leave, you were in that moment. You get in the car, you're in that moment. You go to a concert, you're in that moment. When you go to a concert, you shouldn't be worrying about, oh my gosh, did the kids go to bed? Is this going to be on sale tomorrow at the food market? Am I going to be able to get to the mechanic on time tomorrow? Is the person that I'm going to see tomorrow going to like me so I get the job? I mean, all these things may be important, but they're not important when something else is current. Now, if you want to take 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes and focus on something in the moment, which is, am I going to get that job? And you're focusing on that, just focus on that. Don't focus on anything else. So we want to choose what we focus on, right? And when we choose that, we can be laser targeted so that we are 100% on point every single time. Now, why do people choose not to be in the moment? Why do you think, why don't people want to live in the moment? Let's think about that a minute. I'm going to ask that question again. Why don't people want to live in the moment? That's what I want to ask you. Well, they're basically not wanting to live in the moment because they believe that happiness exists in the future. And they use this and a plethora of other excuses to try to leave the current situation, leave the present. Like, I'm not happy the way I feel now, so let's think about the future. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Now, that doesn't mean you can't change the future, right? Because you are now where you are because of what happened in the past. Living in the moment is a very peaceful and tranquil way to live, right? Especially with the lockdowns we've had and things like that, right? Smile, forgive people, love what you're doing, love your job. Even if you don't like your job, love your job. Okay? But think about the moment. When we think about the moment, we can be joyful about it. Now, another time when we say think about the moment is because we're spinning our wheels so hard about trying to get further that we haven't put even 50% or 75% of our total effort. And we actually could be doing a lot better than we were doing, all because we're trying to get to the future. The future's fine. But if we're in the moment, now that doesn't mean you shouldn't visualize and things like that. But when I say live in the moment, when you're here and you're not meditating or you're not thinking of your future, and there's nothing wrong with thinking of your future, but I'm saying that when you're living your life, you're thinking of the moment. And when you do things like that, you're going to come off as a more peaceful person, loving person, a more agreeable person, and someone that people want to be around. If you don't live in the moment, well, relationships are going to be challenged because you're always going to be wondering, well, what if this? And when will this happen in the relationship? And when will this happen in the relationship? And when will this happen? And then when will we do this in the relationship? And it's like you're rushing the whole relationship away. Just enjoy the beauty of what today is. If you're just friends, then enjoy the friendship. If you're in love, enjoy the love, but enjoy the love for the state that it's at. Don't put prerequisites that, well, by this date, we have to have done this, or we have to be this, or we have to have this title. And get away from titles. You don't want titles, right? Relieve stress. When we live now in harmony, we don't encumber ourselves with stress. Meditating is great. Forgive. Forgive somebody in your life maybe that just isn't allowing you to go on. Now, we're going to talk more about what's on your mind, because what's on your mind is what causes people to not reach their goals. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would hope that you'll tag your friends, colleagues, and associates, share it out to everyone you know here on social media, and then go out to youtube.com, type in my name, John space E space MORLEY space serial entrepreneur. Look for the key phrase, help keep our content free, and then make the choice to buy my team and I a cup of coffee. Click on that PayPal link. We'll be so grateful with those pennies and dollars. We'll invest them into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new staff, and even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, motivational content. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be with you this evening. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Sunday. Hopefully we'll be done with the snow, but I'm thinking in the moment. The snow that's here is here for the moment. In the future, it may be gone, but right now it's here, and I'm enjoying it and enjoying a rest at home. Remember that I do these every single day, all different times. And if you can't make it, well, then go to John C. Morley Serial Entrepreneur channel or on LinkedIn. Remember to follow me, like, and also watch these videos a couple times, because there's a lot of valuable information in here that if you choose to start applying it to the present moment of your life is just going to take off positively in an exponential fashion. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I wish you a great, safe, wonderful, amazing evening, and I'll be back tomorrow, Sunday, to continue with episode 2. Take care, everyone.